What is good, everybody? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It's Thursday, baby. We're almost here for the weekend, which I'm pretty psyched. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty stoked for the weekend. What about you, Sleazy? You stoked for the weekend, baby?
Yeah, we're going to work even more on the weekend. Hey!
Yes, more work.
I love this. So, well, at the very least, on the weekend, there are no calls during the night. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There is one coming up on late Saturday night. But, that's business as usual.
Well, the madness never ends, but you know what? You gotta love it. It's one of those things where you get to do what you love, and there's not many opportunities in life where you actually get the opportunity to do just that. There's a lot of times where we end up getting, caught up in the fiat mind, as we like to call it, burning and churning away, and you lose track of those things that are special. And the next thing you know, you're getting older and you're looking back on the memories and where did all the time go. But to be able to be in, Web3, I think one of my favorite parts about this entire journey is the simple fact it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, just people in general. This seems to be a place where you could just kind of be the truest form of yourself.
I think this is like the perfect job if you're like a teenager. There are actually quite a few people over in Sonium Discord who are like underage.
That's crazy.
Especially I know some of the Russians, because they were saying that they're not going to be able to participate like in the next half a year because they're getting drafted.
Yeah. Oh my God.
One of the stories that I heard. But the guy was Ukrainian, so it's a difficult situation.
It's a different. Yeah, no, and I feel bad. I really do. I feel for a lot of people that are struggling and going through a lot of stuff in the world. And I hope that this space can be a place where no matter who they are, what their age, obviously never financial advice, do your own research. You probably shouldn't be partaking in indigent stuff if you're, that young. But I think it's a great opportunity for people to learn and get like internships. Like I think one of the best things that I was excited about, that when we first started the journey and we were expanding and working with other, chains and bringing in more employees and stuff like that, it was having the opportunity to work with people from all over the world, to be able to have even some college kids that were, in school and learning, and we were able to take in some interns. And I think it's probably been some of the best part of the journey, is kind of taking all the knowledge and the experience and everything that we've got and giving that back to some of the people, because, it's cool when you see people from the community that are like, yo, man, it's been such a long journey. We've been doing this for so long together. I remember when it was like this, or I remember when it was like this. And then you see the growth pattern. And I think it's that growth trajectory that's probably, the best part of the experience. So I don't know how you feel. How's it been for you, the journey overall?
Yeah, before that, I want to kind of continue the previous one. It's great for the teenagers because, they usually like to stay up late, very late.
Oh, yeah.
Doing their own stuff and then sleep into the morning. And that's kind of what I've been doing because of the difference in time zones. So yeah, that's part of how it's been going so far. And the other thing is, at least in my personal experience, I've always been better. Well, a bit of a context. I live in Spain, and here Spain is like Spanish is not my first language. It's in fact my third language.
Okay.
So and I did IT back in my university.
Yeah.
So whenever it was like a regular subject, I would struggle. But then when it came to like a research subject, because I knew English a lot better than everyone else, I excelled just because it kind of the amount of time for me to research was like half that of everyone else because of the language barrier. So yeah.
Well, funny enough, I mean, you got through it, and you've always done a kick-ass job with anything that you've tackled, especially as our CMO for a lot of people that don't know out there. But I think one of the coolest things that stands out to me, out of what you talked about, was the AI stuff that people are doing now with voice stuff. So I've seen glasses out, I've seen now like ear pods out and stuff like that, where people having conversations, it's actually translating that in real time. And it's pretty epic, man. So not only are we seeing like this unification, what happened with the original internet was, the idea was to unify people. It was accessibility of information. And in the beginning, it still was kind of like building the narrative, which is more actually decentralized in a sense, before it became more centralized with Web 2, et cetera, with social media. But then people started to come together even more and more. And now what you see with blockchain and Web 3, it's a different form of that. And what I think is kind of interesting is it also brings together developers, it brings together ideas. It's not just a platform where you could show pictures. It's not just a place where you can go and post things in the public to see. It's a think tank. And I think that's one of the coolest parts of Web 3. It actually actually is a think tank. And it's pretty miraculous when you see AI, doing things like that, being married with this and now having like proof of humanity. It's going to get really crazy in probably the next, few months, let alone the next year or two.
I would like to appreciate this a lot more because for like the last 5 years or so, I'm always a designated translator because a lot of people over where I live, they don't want to, well, they kind of do, but not really because they didn't put any effort into actually learning Spanish. So they've kind of been like hinting that I should be like one of those translators that have like, right now there's AI that does it. But just a few years back, you would have like an actual person listening in your ear and talking and telling you exactly what is being said.
Yeah.
It's still probably better than AI, at least as far as politicians go, because you need to be able to understand the context. You need to be able to like read facial expressions. You need to like read the intonation of the voice and stuff like this. So
hey, shout out Crypto. Nice to see you in what's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in today. Also shout out to our CFO. What's up, Patty? I know you're over there watching, guys. Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I think at the end of the day, it's good to be able to be, multifaceted and be able to have a diverse set of tools, especially in this space, because you meet people from so many crazy areas. Like I never dreamed of some of the people that would meet people all around the planet. And then even some of our cool partners, like obviously speaking with which we'll see, we'll try to tease a little bit for you guys out there. We can't give too much away, but we have some partners that all over the world. And it's cool to be able to have the opportunity actually recently with one of our conversations to be able even to go out there and meet them and fly out there into Indonesia. And I think I'm pretty excited about that as well, to have the opportunity to meet with people all around the world and kind of just, figure out different ways to understand what they're building and why they're building it. It's interesting when you see different sectors of the market and what people cater towards, because some people will say, NFTs are dead, which we're going to get into the topic of the day. And I don't think they quite are. I just think it's a different narrative right now. I think when you look at what's going on overall in the industry, AI is capturing so much market share, so much mind share, so to speak, that right now it's just kind of getting, it's something that's swept under the rug. It's just, less seen. It's less talked about, but it is ever present, because when you go on statistics and you look at the metrics and what's pumping, like it's definitely there. Like you see even in the Bitcoin community, ordinals haven't gone anywhere. They're still growing, they're still scaling, people are still building. It's just market shares being chopped up and distributed amongst different demographics. So right now, like I said, of course, AI is the narrative, AI agents, which we'll be talking about on another show coming up, because we're really excited to share with the world that we're going to be one of, the only companies in not only Web3, but in the world releasing the type of AI agents and the product that we're releasing. So it's going to be a huge drop. It's going to be madness, absolute madness. I'm excited, man.
And I'm going to just tease it out a little bit, but there are so many no-code tools.
Don't make me nervous. Don't make me nervous. Go ahead. Not too much. Go ahead.
There are so many no-code tools that I am currently investigating that it is so easy that by next week's show, I'm actually going to be able to present it as something for the community to use. Like it's cool. Actually that easy. Like all you have to do is just find the right tools, get the right advice, get the right guidance for this, and know where to use it. And really, AI is becoming so easy to use. Everyone now knows how to do ChatGPT. Everyone can generate images, maybe not like the intricacies. You might not know the intricacies of how to generate the right kind of image with AI, but anyone can just go and use the chat prompt. So it's going to be wonderful for next episode next week. You can look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Go ahead.
And to, I guess, open into today's topic. Well, not quite today's topic, but it's related. So, partner, I hear the news around the block, around our saloon, that there's been a certain plundering of certain crates. The crates, if you look at it, there's been so many of them. But now, I count it. There's less than 70 crates left on secondary market.
I love it, man. You're burnt out, bro. I love it. Listen,
the floor is $15 now.
I can tell people this. Yeah, I am pretty excited about that. So for those that don't know, we're going to dive into a little bit about what's going on also with Posse, and we'll talk a little bit about the art and the design, because I think the art, design, and NFT factor of it all is really interesting as well, because it piggybacks off of what we were talking about earlier as far as the NFT market is concerned. The reality is that market is still there. It's still thriving. I think people think it's looking for product market fit, and it really isn't. There is a place for it. It's just evolving. And that's just the natural evolution of all technology within, any sector that you really look at. Just like what's going on with blockchain soon, when mass adoption comes, it's going to be really boring. I tell people that, like, once mass adoption's here, it's here because it's going to be as boring as going to the ATM and swiping your card. Because when companies like logistics businesses start using it to track, tracking for whatever products that they're shipping overseas, it's going to get to the point where that's kind of boring to people, right? But that's mass adoption, and that's going to bring in a shit ton of value, especially what you're seeing with institutional investment. Other companies, Fortune companies, are going to be looking for ways to adopt this. But to bring it back on what you were talking about, to tie it all around before we get into the crates and everything that we're doing.
Do you know how to know that banks are mass adopted? Everyone knows what an ATM is, but does anyone know what it actually what the acronym stands for?
Actually, damn, that's kind of crazy. I don't.
Not even bankers know that.
Really? What is it?
You go to
automated transaction machine. I'm gonna guess automated transaction machine.
Every time I ask that question, I go and look at it, and every time I forget. Like, it's not a crazy definition, but it's something like very simple. It's
now I have to know.
Like, it's a name of a protocol. Like, I also learned it while doing my IT career. Like, it's just name of a protocol.
Oh, it's automated teller machine. I said automated transaction machine. Okay, I was pretty close. Okay, I think I get something for that. But anyway, no, I was saying, like, NFTs. I think it's at the point where they're starting to, they're making a buzz, particularly in gaming as well, because it's becoming big again. People were saying AI is going to be the narrative, and it is. Don't get me wrong, but this AI narrative, guys, like, people are pounding it so hard. When people pound something this hard, there tends to be that fall off. There is that cliff off, because everybody's going to start launching crazy AI agent platforms, and it's going to become super saturated for a while. And then the infra companies come in. What comes next, right? Because right now this stuff is a little harder to build. There's a lot more to it that you need to understand. There's an engineering curve. We have incredible world-class engineers here at Posse Studio. So for us, it's a little bit different. We're able to kind of maneuver some of that. But for a lot of the other guys, what they're going to end up doing is say, okay, how can I get involved with this? Especially people in the community. And we want to educate them. That's going to be another purpose in our future episode. We're going to be having one next week to really cover the AI agent scene. What does it mean? What is the logistics of this, even from an engineering standpoint? Like, how does that look? How do people use it? What is the value proposition for people? We're going to jump into that. But with NFTs, like I said, they're now also, slowly but surely, they're coming in, because you're going to be able to integrate this AI technology. You're going to be able to integrate a lot of this stuff. And like what we're doing with the AI avatars is just that. We're trying to focus on how can we take this tech and not just use it in, like, a way that it's just kind of like vanity, right? What is the actual utility that people can do with this? What is the value that this can bring the end user, as well as SocialFi and the community aspect of all that? But as far as the crates are concerned, that's where all that begins. So for all you guys that don't know, we have a massive campaign that's also going on the marketplace. We've now become the official marketplace, you could, so to speak, flagship marketplace of Sonium. And honestly, it's just because we've been crushing it. That's really what it is. We're at over $130 million in volume on the testnet alone, over almost 300,000 transactions, almost 20,000 users. It's been an incredible journey that all of this has even built up over this short period of time. It blows my mind when I look at the numbers every day, and I'm like, no way that's where we're at. Like, that's really where we're at. And then as it started to unfold and evolve, we have the airdrop campaign going on with West. Obviously, never financial advice. Do your own research. For us, it's all an ecosystem model. We don't look at any of these things. They're not securities, so don't treat them as such. I tell you guys all the time, this is just having fun within the community, stuff and utility for the games, for the environment overall. But with the airdrop campaign, which we're really excited about, it really is just where people can interact with the marketplace. The more they list, they buy, they sell, they trade, things like that, they're able to acquire points. And then from those points, they can get that airdrop. And where the crates come involved, which is huge. Shout out to all our Chronos fam out there. We have Origins over there as well on Chronos. And, the community is absolutely incredible. We love those guys, everybody there. It's been rocking out with us for years, some of them now, and it's been like a close-knit family, and probably one of the, for me, the highlights of my life. It changed my life for sure. So shout out to Fifth Gear and everybody else. I know that you guys are tuned in right now, and it's about time. They're going to get the value that they've been waiting as well. You know what I mean? They've been locked in for so long, and people have been waiting for this to happen. Like, it's almost like, originally when the whole Crow Boys thing launched and everybody was doing this journey with us, everybody was like, man, like they knew it was going to be big. We kind of, always knew that there was something special here. We just didn't know exactly what direction it would really take. It was kind of ended up, shocking us when it took off. So for us to finally be able to, bring this all full circle into fruition, it's like even a time emotional, man. It's crazy when you have your life on the line and you've been doing this blood, sweat, and tears for so many years. So now with the marketplace, in the crates, you guys, we have a big PFP collection coming. It's going to be the first PFP collection on Sonium, Sony's first PFP collection. It's Sony, so it's a big deal. And we're also going to be implementing, coming up, AI features into these NFTs. So this PFP drop is going to be absolutely fucking parabolic. Like, it's going to send this shit nutty. And I'm excited about it. You know what I mean? Well, people see right now, where we're leaning towards in the direction we're going. And they know we're really focused heavily on the AI side of things. Let's shout some people out before I keep going, man. We got a bunch of people in the comments. Shout out to Pastry Bakes, man, for tuning in. Love you. Absolutely love you. Shout out to Perry. We love you, Perry. We know you're always locked the fuck in, man. You're the man. Shout out to, obviously, Mumba in there. Dig in, stay together, work hard, look after each other. Posse, stronger together. And I agree, man. The NFT collection is officially going to be called the Posse Pioneers. We had a very respected artist who wants to remain anonymous, but I will say they're from Brazil, who helped develop this collection. It is a very special pixel collection. There's a lot of this collection that is also, they're like gifts. They're kind of like, animated, and they're so fucking cool. If you guys didn't know, a sneak peek of the collection, I've been teasing it for a while, I can finally say it, is actually my PFP. I'm the only one that has, one probably on my PFP right now, but there's 6 different versions. There's 3 females, there's 3 males, and they're all tied into one collection. And it's actually going to be our 6 original characters for our game. Bill West, Jed, all those guys. It's going to be really fun. There's a lot of deep lore. We're going to start doing our Saturday lore, which Kevil's going to be doing, which I'm really excited about. Every Saturday, for you guys that are tuned into the Discord, I hope you're ready, because we're going to start releasing sneak peeks of the storyline and the plot of everything that's about to unfold. So for the crates, for those that don't know, we have to pay homage to the, to where we began. We have to pay homage to all those that have really rode this journey out with us. And a lot of times people come and say, what are the Genesis crates? Well, here we can dig in. That's basically the idea of today. Before I dig into that though, Sleazy, do you have anything, you know what I mean? I want to dig into what they are, how it all works, and then we can kind of go.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to add one comment. In Discord, we have the role of Big Gun. It requires 50 crates.
That's crazy.
With the state of the secondary market right now, you would need over $1,000 to actually acquire 50 crates.
That's
and
nuts.
There's only one more Big Gun available to be had, because there's only like 68 crates.
I never
available
thought
left.
about it like that. I actually never thought about it like that. So if you there, holy shit, you're right. There's only one Big Gun roll left on the floor.
Yep.
Okay, well, so either way. Anyway, but I think the reality of this is that
like we've had so many people actually buying last week.
Oh, yo, shout out to Croissant from SHG, man. Come on, man. That's awesome that you're locked in and tuned in. We love you, Melanie. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's nuts, man. That Big Gun roll is going to be pretty crazy. There'll be a Big Gun technically and a wanted roll left, which is 20. But let's get into what they are and how it works. I think that's probably the biggest part that everybody's tuned in for today. A lot of people are like, what the hell is this? How does it work? So for those that don't know, back in the day, we launched the Genesis crates, and the idea behind the Genesis crates was essentially that there would be this utility for the community moving forward for the games, that they would find different ways that we could tie into, whether it be the reward systems, the point systems, the roles. And we found a lot of really unique ways that have evolved over the years. Now, in each Genesis crate, when you open them up, there's a multitude of different things in them, and they have different features and they have different perks. And there's 3 major rarities. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you haven't watched a very famous Western, which we watched on our movie nights, for you guys that don't tune in, we got it all happening over here at Posse Studios. We have movie nights every single Sunday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? It's Sunday now. It's Sunday. Yeah. Yes. Every movie nights, every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we have like different Western movies and stuff that we do group streaming together. And we watch them, and it's a really good time. So for those that are out there, jump into the Discord. Like, we'll have a blast with you guys and do some movie streaming. And then let's see, Yama. Yeah, these comments are flying in. Big Gun represent. Listen, man, we got some pretty heavy hitters. We got some whales that are out there. But let me pull up some of these Genesis crates so people can get an understanding of what this is and how it works, all that good stuff. So Genesis crates. All right. So when you go on a Genesis crate, there's a good, there's the bad, and the ugly. And one of the first things that you look at, shout out to One Hung Low, because I know who this is. I actually know who the holder of this crate is.
Nice.
So Hung Low, if you're out there, man, you know I love you, brother. So when you look
at what do you mean he's selling his crates?
Well, listen, here's the good thing. Hung Low is a whale. Like, listen, this homie is a whale. So, you know what I mean? And here's the thing. It's good. I tell people this all the time. And I want to say this out there for the public. Anybody that's like telling people, yo, don't put none on the floor. We got to hold the floor. That's stupid. The more volume, the more people that are getting the opportunity to come into the community, the better. Like, I hate it when things get hoarded and things like that. It should move constantly. There should be accessibility for people. There shouldn't be a gate kept, basically a lack of opportunity for those that are looking to get into something. And we see that a lot with NFTs nowadays. Like, I love Pudgy and I love all these big projects, but once you get up to this massive floor price, it's like, what do you do now? It's just a brick. It's no different than sitting there laying gold. What can you do with it? And that is the problem where NFTs started to go wrong. Like, what can you actually do with these things? So this is when we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the crates and the PFPs and all that good stuff. So we can actually talk about like how that works. But in this particular crate, each crate has a different, whether like tarnish, they have a condition. So inside of them, there's a multitude of different things. And there's also some surprise things. So we like to do cool things like the founding. And I ain't going to tell you how this all ties in yet, but be aware, there's a storyline here. So the finding date for this particular crate is March 24th, 1713. The manufacturer is pretty handmade. It's the property of Steam Valley. The revolvers in this, a tarnished revolver, second weapon, a pickaxe, tarnish, a wealth factor, and a West multiplier. So we're going to get into kind of like how all that works. So inside of the crate, you'll have your weapons like we talked about. And then for those that have 10, right? For every 10 actual crates that you own, you get a PFP avatar airdrop to you. So that's going to be an avatar that is airdropped to you. It's one of the AI avatars, which we're pretty excited about. And the idea is that we want to reward those that have kind of been here since day one. Won't lie, we can now publicly say this, that they are going to be a little bit on the pricier side, but you're going to be able to get away A-Star with ETH on Sonium. Pretty excited. But the reality is there's so much value inside of these, which we'll get into kind of like what it is that you can do with them, how they work, the logistics of all the technology. We kind of been building in silence. People have been asking us for a long time, how come we didn't shill a lot of this stuff? I don't think it's just our style. I think there's so much people shilling out there and there's so much like bullshit in the media that for us, it's like, it just didn't make sense. Just build it. Just be quiet, shut up and build. Like, show the work. You know what I mean? Don't just sit there and constantly try to farm stuff from your community. People so much try to do all like these hype investing things where they crowdfund things. I hate that shit. One, you're going to put yourself in a tough spot. You know what I mean? When the SEC bangs on your door. But the reality is that like, you have to give back to the community. You have to figure out ways to figure out new utilities, and nothing's perfect, right? Like, we're constantly learning. This is a journey. So we're still figuring out how a lot of this stuff works. But the cool part about it is you get to explore that journey with the community. So in this particular case, that's our opportunity to give back to the people and those that have been supporting us since day one. And then the other way is you'll get the guns and the weapon that you'll be able to use in the game. These are actual, in-game NFTs that you'll be able to put inside of Wanted. We have a desktop game and a mobile game. It's a lot to cover because Posse is really kind of different than a lot of the other ecosystems out there. We're a Web3 ecosystem hub. So like, we're really looking to be like the Epic Games of Web3, the AOL of Web3. That's kind of like how we envision ourselves, which is why people say, wow, it's so ambitious. You have a DEX, you have an AI agent platform, you have a marketplace, you have games, you have these tokens. Yeah, that's the idea. When a user comes in, you want to be able to protect them. You want to be secure. I can finally announce this, which is big news, guys. I'm really, really excited. Put out to Posse trading is okay. You got to let people in the Posse. You know what I mean? It's true. Oh, we also have the merch store. Yeah, posse.shop. So the one thing that was important for us was to first deliver value. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. And it was to say, hey, before you sit there and you start shilling things and you're like, buy this, where are the people out there that are actually delivering a product first? Like, I would be more inclined, like I put myself in the shoes of our community, in the shoes of retail, because I'm a buyer, I'm a degen. Like I love to be in the community. And if I'm going to sit there and buy something, the first thing that goes through my mind is, if I'm going to buy this shit, what can I do with it? Like, what have you done for the community instead of just take? That's what a lot of these projects and a lot of these, chains in general do. They farm their users. So for us, first we built the marketplace, we built the AI agent platform, we built the tokens, we built the decks, we built everything first, and then slapped it on the table and said, now what? And that's what I think I'm excited about. It ain't like everybody else who's just been doing this and waiting for something to happen. We've actually done the footwork. So it shows, man, we have staying power. We've been here for years now, like grinding away. And we built some of this new tech in like no time. So that shows the talent of our engineering team. We were able to put a bunch of this stuff together, some things in 90 days, some things in 6 months, some things that take people years. It's just because we have incredible, like, shout out to Charlie, shout out to KB, shout out to Nick, shout out to all the guys out there that have been like, grinding away. Cesar, Pedro. I mean, they're rock stars, man. Like, we wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for the team. And
yeah, like, how this happened? Just for the context for people who
are
not in the team, we are building the marketplace, and suddenly we're hearing, hey, AI is kind of hot right now. We're like, I guess we can go into AI.
And here's the crazy part, what you said. Like, we had the AI. This is what makes me so proud. Like, when you look in the documents, you see the dates on there. We were talking about the AI agents and all the AI stuff that we were going to launch about like 2 years ago. So like, this meta is like people are just now catching it because they're looking for something new, but this isn't nothing new. Half the shit that's out there right now, and I want to save this for the AI conversation because this really needs to be talked about, because the number one thing we do at Posse is we're an onboarding platform, guys. Like, we focus on entertainment, we focus on onboarding, and we focus on the security. We're proud to announce, let me add this in here so now that we're talking about it, that we are officially partnering with Hackin and Hashlock, which is two of the biggest auditors in the entire industry. We're really proud to say that our contracts and everything that we're doing will be certified and audited by them. So people will be able to see the audit reports and all that stuff. Like, I'm stoked about this, to slap it on the site, to put it out there like, hey guys, security is extremely important to Posse. Like, the user experience is everything to me. I started my career out as a UI designer. I actually worked at the UI design myself to design, the homepage and a lot of stuff, the user experience that we see over at Posse Market. And personally, like, I want it to be something where people enjoy it. They have fun. They get the one click. They're immediately into the experience. They're getting what they're looking to get out of the Web3 experience, and they're safe. Most importantly, their assets are secure. Everything that they're doing on chain. And it's transparent, most importantly, which I think is the number one thing that people look for in this industry, is transparency. So anyway, to dig in, besides the fact that, good news, guys, shout out, we're audited by Hackett and Hashlock. And man, I'll tell you one thing, between you, that stuff is not cheap. But you know what? It's worth it for the community. It's worth it for the community. And I think at the end of the day, they're great partners. We're really excited to partner with them. So stay tuned, because we're going to have more alpha on that. And some of the partnerships that are coming out of that, because we have now at Posse over 100 partnerships. It's actually only like over 150 over the last few years. It's probably even more than that. So it's going to be pretty stoked to launch this. This is what everybody's kind of been waiting for. A lot of people don't know. They're like, man, what are these guys doing? Are they up to something? It kind of been in the shadows. We weren't trying to be the next unicorn. Like, that wasn't our thing. We didn't want to compete with them. We just wanted to be ourselves and have fun. And if it happened, it happened. And it's crazy because now it feels like we're there. We're getting there. Like, now it's like, it's becoming real. And, slowly but surely, we didn't bother pushing on the socials. Now we are. Now we're seeing everything grow. We've activated the marketing department. We've activated the development department. We've activated the PR department. We have a TikTok up and going now. You know what I mean? We have everything hitting the pedal, moving. And I can't give the official date, but the main net is coming very, very soon. And you guys were really going to want to be locked the fuck in for what's going to happen, because this is going to be an incredible opportunity. We are a chain agnostic cross chain ecosystem, so we pay homage to all of our homies across all the chains, but we will be working with Base, we will be working with Cronus, we will be working with Sonium. We will be working with others. Stay tuned. I got some names for you guys that I think will be pretty hyped. But if you've been following the blockchain space and you've been following, obviously, our careers, my career was a CMO over at Crypto Slam. So I worked with a lot of the bigger protocols personally. We're in talks with some other chains as well, guys. So I tell you guys, man, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming. But to get back to the crates. So the idea is, inside of these crates, you will be able to get your 2 weapons that you'll be able to use in the game. Now, let's discuss what the wealth factor is. So inside of each crate, the wealth factor determines the rarity of the asset that you're getting inside of that crate, right? So usually the higher that the wealth factor is, the more of a chance you have to get something rare that's in it. Now, the West multiplier is something unique. The West multiplier is how it works as far as the staking model, and it's actually going to be Posse points within the game. So inside of the game, when you play, everything within Wanted's gaming ecosystem, it's done by esport. We call it like compete to earn. We don't like the play to earn model. We don't like all the scammy buzzword shit. Like, it really is just, that's really what it is. It's just a scammy buzzword. It never works. The models never work. And the reality is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Anybody that really understands gaming understands what needed to happen in order to make this successful. There's guys out there that raise a shit ton of money. You know, they have all these millions of dollar rounds, and they never deliver a product that actually works, that's sustainable, because that's what VCs are looking for those that don't know the venture capital world. Like, they want something that's sustainable, right? So the idea for us was to really lean also on the Web 2 model. Like, it's okay to utilize Web 2 tech. Like, people are almost scared of it. So in this particular case, we have compete to earn, which is very much like an esport tournament model, where we have two tokens, Wild and West, right? Wild is our stable coin, which we call it a super stable, which, stay tuned, we'll tell you why that is. It's called a super stable, aka green token, which is a very first of its kind model that was developed by Posse Studios, which we're really excited about. And then West, which is your standard inflationary token, which it's an ecosystem token. It's really for the DAO. It's for everything else that's going on within the ecosystem as well, or for the marketplace, pardon me, and everything that goes on in the DEX, etc. So the only way to get the actual pot at the end of each season of the game, it's done in 4 seasons, like very much like an esport tournament. Every 3 months, there's a new season. So when that season comes in, there's a pot of Wild that accumulates. So one of the cool things about it is, every transaction that takes place within the entire Posse ecosystem, a portion of that goes back towards the GameFi, the actual pot, the esport tournament. So it's constantly sending rewards there, and the pot builds more and more and more. And then at the end of that season, based upon those that are on what's called the most wanted rankings, how you fall in the rankings, it gets distributed to those top 3 guys that are winner, gold, bronze, silver, etc. So the idea is for those to earn Posse points and stuff like that within the game. Now, how do you do that? Kills, winning tournaments, doing player missions with the other players. It's a 3D immersive world. So the idea is you can go in there and talk with your friends. It would be proximity chat, all that cool stuff. And the idea is that you get involved in that, and you're able to find different ways to earn them. Now, that's the only way you could earn it besides the crates. We told people this all the time. The crates are the only other way to earn this, literally on an automated level, just literally by just staking them. And what you do is that West multiplier is every day you get 1.5, I think it's like 1 or 1.5 West a day by staking it. Now, the West multiplier will allow you to do that depending on what's in the crate. Some of these may have some crypto in it. You know what I mean? Can't say, but we'll see. And then from there, that multiplier that has to do with how much is in there, and a multitude of other little surprise things that we're going to be doing for people. We also accumulate a lot of whitelists from our partners. So one of the other cool things is that, you know, we can have partnerships that are involved with the opening of the crate. So if you have like favorite NFT projects or people that are within the community that work with us, you may open that and find maybe even NFTs from one of your favorite partner communities, which we're really excited about as well. That's another opportunity to kind of work together and spread that love. So I think overall, that's what we're really excited about. That's kind of the gist of how they work. Now, the crates, like I said, you know, there's different roles within the community. There's cowboy, there's bandit, there's outlaw, there's wanted, and then there's big gun. they're going to be really important. We're going to dig into that next. Go ahead, Sleazy. What do you got a little bit? I want you to jump in there. Maybe you could add something before I dig in.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to add to that last part. We have many partnerships, including with quite a few Sony projects. You never know, you might get an NFT from one of our partner projects. We have a marketplace, we have people minting on our marketplace. You never know what kind of stuff you can get out of a crate. Like, it's a box, it's a wonder box, it's a surprise
That's
box.
really
You
what
can
it
get
is. That's
anything out
really
of
what it
it.
is. That's really what it is at the end of the day. Let's see what we got here. Mamba, what's up? 2 audits. That's right. Safety first before you get down in Degen. Yeah, that's probably the most important part, man. It's making sure that we're keeping people secure and safe. For me, I think that's one of the most important parts. And that's why we're so proud to come out here in the public. Most people are hiding. Like, you get what I mean? Like, I think it's so like shady when founders and people are literally sitting behind the scenes and they're hiding, or they'll post something every once in a while in between in public. Like, you got to get out there. You got to put yourself out there. You got to show people that you really believe in what it is that you're pushing. You got to really believe in it. And I don't know of anyone that believes in what we do more than us. We've literally put it all on the line. So it's been an absolute pleasure building it. But anyway, to get into the roles, before I do that, were you going to say something? No. So for the roles, we have the Cowboy. I said the Bandit. So Cowboy is one crate. Bandit is 5. So Outlaw is 10. Wanted is 20. And then Big Gun is 50. And here's how they work. They're based upon essentially how you'll be able to get in on our tiered TGE. So for Wild, the super stable token, we're going to have a very particular model for how that TGE works, which, stay tuned, there'll be more for that. But based upon your holdings is going to be at what level basically that you get in at. You know what I mean? Those that have the bigger roles will get in earlier and have earlier access. And obviously anyone knows that in this industry, being early is key. Like, you know what I mean? That's everything. Being early is everything. So when you go in there and you're able to have these, that'll get you access to Wild. That will get you access to the avatars. That will get you access to gaming features. That will get you access to live events, because we are going to be going to a lot of the other events. You know, we see them, NFT NYC, the ETH Denvers, etc. We are looking to be hosting some pretty awesome sponsorship parties and stuff like that for those that like to go to the live events, which are pretty excited about. And we are in the middle of a raise. So that's been a big thing as well. We're in the middle of a capital raise, which is really, really exciting. We're pretty happy and excited working with SHG and all those guys. So shout out to Croissant and Mr. Dip. Love you guys. You guys have really been supporting since day one. So, pretty proud of that. That being said, what's up? Yes. So 0.01 Posse per kill, per things like that you do. And that does. He is right about that. So essentially, when you accumulate those Posse points, like I said, at the end of that esport tournament, you will fall into the most wanted rankings and then win a portion of that. And essentially, that's how the crates will allow you to also. So if you stake them, you'll be able to just literally wake up in the morning and have more Posse points. It's a pretty big deal. Now, that won't get you to the top of the leaderboard unless you had a bajillion crates, and even then it wouldn't. But the reality is it still gets you something, because with those Posse points, you can also get things in the store. So when you go into the actual store of the game, you will be able to get discounts. It's almost like a point system where you can get rebates, cool stuff like that, where you're able to go and purchase little avatars within the game. Right now, we're putting in things like vests and hats and clothes and different guns and cool stuff like that, which we will show you some sneak peeks of the game that we just put up for you guys, for those that want to go check them out. But yes, 10 crates equals 1 Posse Pioneer. And that is going to be the first NFT collection ever on Sonium. They're Sony's first NFTs, guys. They're going to be fire, which we're pretty excited about, but never financial advice. Like we tell you guys all the time, do your own research. We're just here to grow with the community and have some fun. We want to make sure that everybody's safe and making the right decisions and being smart. At the end of the day, this is DeFi, and it can be a little bit crazy in Web3. So let's dig in actually into a little bit of scenery of the gameplay, stuff that's going on in the actual mobile game. Go ahead.
Courtesy of Momba, we would like to reveal a certain one of the utilities that's going to be of our NFT, although it is technically a profile picture as always, but it's going to have at least one utility that we will reveal the rest of the details later. But let's say 2.5% of royalties on all the transactions of the NFTs are going to be distributed to the NFT holders.
And that is 2.5% of the entire marketplace transactions, guys. So like that's a big fucking deal. I'll just say it. That's a lifetime thing. Those that hold the actual PFTs will have 2.5% of marketplace transactions. Like a portion of that is going to be distributed to all PFP holders. You know, I mean, you can't get better than that. We really want to bring the value back to the people. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, we have the lowest fees in the entire industry. Like, we're not trying to hammer away at the royalties. Like, you know, and shout out. Like, I love the guys and everything that's happening in Magic Eden, everything that's happening in OpenSea, and everything that's happening in a lot of the great marketplaces out there. But for me, like, I get it. It's a business model. People need to make money, but you could still win in this industry and give back to people first. You could still lead with community first. And we've gotten away from that. And we have to get back to that. If we don't get back to that, then we won't succeed. Everybody being running in different directions and ripping people apart is not how this industry is going to grow. You may not like it. People may want to gatekeep stuff, but things like that is our way of putting our money where our mouth is and saying, hey, listen, you know, those that are holders for these PFPs are going to get, you know, a big part of the rev share for the marketplace. So that's why they're also really important to have. And the crates right now are the only way to guarantee you. Like 10 crates right now are working out to be cheaper than one Posse Pioneer. That's all I'm going to say. 10 crates right now work out to be cheaper than one Posse Pioneer. You could do the math. You know what I mean? I tell these guys all the time. We're excited. We're really excited. Go ahead. What are some of the other perks, man?
Well, that's the only one that we're going to reveal today. But
okay. We're gonna reveal one, just one. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have something for the next show. Okay.
Okay, we'll see.
Just imagine you are like you bought this NFT, you get back like a year later after the bull run is over, and you're like, wait, why do I have like $1,000 here? Where did that come from?
Who knows? Maybe, you know, who knows? Like I say, I think it's one of those things where anything can happen in DeFi. You know, me personally, I'm just more happy to do this because it's fun. I love the artwork. You know, I love the ecosystem idea of it. I love the idea that it's digital art, it's digital assets. You know, to me, when it got into this, we're not in this to look at the money and to sit there. Like, we have our own careers. Like, for those that don't know, they know our COO. Shout out to Kevin Williams. He's a doctor. He's a surgeon in the NHS. Patty's a geologist, an actual geologist. Like, it's crazy. So, like, everybody they have their careers. I was an engineer for so many years. Worked in the C-suite for a lot of companies, even in Web 2 before I came over here. So, like, the reality is I have fun doing what I'm doing. You've had fun. We've all had fun doing what we're doing. But for us, this was our hobby. This was something that we were just really, really passionate about. And it was an opportunity to do something cool. And if in the opportunity you can earn something doing what you love, then that's cool. But if not, at least we can help the people that we have. And there's so many people from around the world that don't have the same opportunities that, you know, some people elsewhere may have. And I think being able to sit there and help people win and get involved in a community and just have gamified, the ecosystem is very gamified. You know what I mean? We are Posse Studios. The idea is this is a gamified studio where we're able to gamify all the experiences that you have here. So it's somewhere where you can come in and have fun with the community. We have movie nights. We have story time every Saturday where people could come in and read new lore. We have poker night every Saturday, which is another thing we do, or every Sunday movie nights, poker on Saturdays. There's always campaigns being ran inside the ecosystem. There's always cool stuff happening. We have a massive community, almost 10,000 people in the Discord alone. Like, it's really cool. Like, it's cool to see all these different personalities come together from all over. So that's the one thing. Let's jump into a sneak peek. We told you guys of the actual mobile game. You know, we'll go through this actual thing, our brand book, and some of the things about us. But as you start to read some of this, you'll really learn about the company and what it is that we're looking to do. Because at the end of the day, that's one thing we're proud of. We are a licensed company also in the UK. Obviously, you guys know that I live out here on the East Coast in the US, which we're also in the US. So, you know, the cool thing is we're all over, man. We're global. So for videos, everybody has seen the initial trailer, so they've seen what we've been developing. For those that haven't seen some of this, you can head on over here. But really excited more mobile game. For those that, you know, don't know, we are also developing a mobile game. The UI has been completely overhauled and updated, so the UI won't look anything like this. But the thing that is really cool is, like, come on, guys, like, this is dope. It really is going to be dope. And this was our great opportunity. Oh, snap. Yo, Patty, why are you always dropping alpha, man? You can't be dropping this type of
Ah,
alpha. You can't be dropping this type of alpha in the chat, man. Are we revealing the 62,500 giveaway for mints? Listen, we will talk about that. We'll talk about that. We'll get to that. You got to be patient. For those that don't know, between staking that we've done over even on Kronos, I mean, we've given away, I don't know, it's well over six figures, you know what I mean, in cryptocurrency for people, those that were staking the actual NFTs. It's been a blast. Like I said, the crates have been an awesome part of our journey, but they are coming to an end, guys. All good things come to an end. There will be something called the Great Burn. We've had our first burn. There was initially 5,000, 2,000 of them have been burned. The remaining people will burn their crates in order to access some cool perks and some of the stuff that we're going to be telling you about. So stay tuned. I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger for that. But once the crates are gone, they will be gone. It's going to be it, man. That's going to be it. Being part of Posse means you get a share of Posse. That's true. That is true. If you are in Posse, you get a share of Posse. It is an entire ecosystem that is shared throughout, anything that we do. It goes back to the community. So definitely go out there, tell everybody about this stuff, tell everything about what we've been doing. It's already live. So nobody could say, hey, did you do this? Oh, these guys are just luring us in. No, it's live. You can go. How many people can tell you that? How many people can say, yeah, go ahead, go check it out. We got a bunch of stuff on testnet right now, a bunch of stuff coming up for mainnet. The mobile game, like I said, has been an absolute blast to build. We're pretty
usually
excited,
people say, go and look at their white paper.
Yeah, go look at our white paper. Go look at our white
Mm-hmm.
paper. No, don't go look at our wild paper. Well, it's called a wild paper for us. Yes, you can go look at our wild paper, but most importantly, go look at the shit that's actually live and go play with it. Go break shit. We want you to break it. If there's any way that you can find to break it, like I said, we're audited by Hacken and Hashlock. You know what I mean? Everything is certified. If you want to go break shit, by all means, please go ahead and try to break shit. There's nothing wrong with that. We want you to, because we want to improve upon the experience. We want to improve upon the design. Obviously, we're in super early stages, so that's to be expected. Not everything is going to be absolutely perfect. That's the whole point of developing with the community. Some people get impatient. What's this do? What's that do? Listen, man, we're going to get there. But yeah, being able to share some of the mobile game, pretty excited about this. Let's see. We also have another clip we shared as well. Let me zoom in on this. This also gives you an opportunity to see what's going on in the Saloon, which we're really excited about. Now, how does the gameplay for this particular one work? Let's talk about that a little bit. So the idea behind the actual mobile game is that, let me get back over here. Okay. The idea behind the actual mobile game is that it's very much kind of like Call of Duty, Fortnite type of style. It's going to be a third-person shooter. So that's where you're kind of running around, you're wildfire, and boom, 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 boom. You're shooting off. You're doing all the crazy shit that you're doing. And you get on the most wanted rankings, all that other good stuff, et cetera, that we talked about earlier. You will be able to purchase this. This game will be available on iOS as well as Android, which we're really excited about. We've already spoken, when we applied for the licensing, the store licensing, all that stuff with the people at the great, awesome people at Apple. As well as Google. I got to get on the phone with one of their little manager people over there that helps out, one of their representatives, which was really cool. The whole experience of learning what you can do and what you can't do. The one thing that we really love that we're going to be doing, Punchy Penguins does this, and we're going to be doing it too. We're going to be doing how they do the Building in Public series. We want to do something Building in Public, very similar to that, so you could see our journey. So you guys can actually see behind the scenes, almost like a reality show, how you could see behind the scenes of what this has actually been like. Because all those that are in the community are watching this right now, and they're like, holy shit. They haven't seen us go this hard. This is finally it. The time has finally come. We've been talking about this for so long that the time is finally here. And it's man, we've been waiting, dying to tell you guys this shit. We've been dying to show what's going on. So one of the things is how this works is, when you're building a game, there is so much shit that is involved on the publishing side. There's so much shit that's involved in the regulations. There's so much stuff that what you can and can't do. You learn that even why, platforms like Steam and you see iOS, Apple, etc., why they take 20% of 30% of everything that you make. Like, there's reasons for this, and nobody talks about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why some platforms don't want crypto, and people say, well, why is that? You should educate people in that. Well, the main reason is because then they don't get a cut. There's ways around them getting a cut of their share. It's hard for them to track, etc. So that's why, if everything's being done through crypto transactions only, well, how will they get their money if they're a Web2 company? There's a whole big thing behind that. But we want to educate everybody. We want everybody to know the ins and outs of the industry and the whys. We want to give the alpha away. We don't see a reason to hold it back. If people want to know what's going on in the industry and they want to see people gatekeep that shit, why? That means you're not confident in your product. You're not confident in your team. We'll tell you all the secrets that we do. Like, there is no secrets. It's called hard work. Get in the trenches and start building stuff. And I think that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day. But anyway, yeah. I mean, for those that seen some of the desktop gameplay, I'm sure you guys have seen little things back and forth that we've already shown. But pretty excited overall.
Who lighted on fire?
Yeah, I know. Pretty excited overall. People ask us all the time, speaking of, like, why, like, the low poly? Why, did we go in that direction? That's a really good technical question as well. One of the real reasons also is because, when we're building a game like this, everything is going to be extremely high resolution, right? But for us, it's like when you look at games like Elden Ring and stuff like that, you would ask yourself, they won Game of the Year. They had so much cool stuff that was going on. All of these hyper realistic games, they always draw attention, but that attention often dies pretty quick. People also get screen fatigue, and there's so much. The more realistic a game is, doesn't necessarily make it a better game. You want proof of that? One thing that we love to do here is talk numbers. We like to we're data. We're big on data being driven. So the reality is what you've seen on Nintendo. Nintendo didn't always have like these hyper realistic games, but they've crushed Sony and Microsoft through the years, right? They've absolutely crushed them. And people say, why is that? And that's because some people used to joke around, call us Crotendo on Kronos, like we were like the Nintendo, like Web3, all that good stuff. And I think the one thing that you go back and forth, we're just honest. We keep it real. Like, we're really excited at all the tech that's being built at Sony and everything that Sonium's doing now, because now they've really come in and they're smashing it. They're crushing it. PS5 was such a big success. We're going to get into the low poly and all that in a second, but it was such a big success. So that's probably one of the also big reasons we're really excited for them, because even now they come on, man, there's heavy hitter titles. Anybody that grew up on gaming, they knew after Nintendo 64 and after the PlayStation came out, it was a game changer. Sony has been on the forefront of revolutionizing gaming and technology for years. And that's another big reason for us. It was a no-brainer. They've absolutely revolutionized not just the space, what we know they're going to do here, but they've revolutionized the entire tech industry. And it's one of those things where it was a no-brainer for us to be building in, collaborating with such an incredible ecosystem and such an incredible team. So the truth of the matter is the low poly is because when you look at games like Minecraft and Roblox, they have absolutely captured mind share and they just crushed it. They've been like the #1 games for years. And people are like, how is that? It's because, one, they're very straightforward. They're very simplistic. They're very easy to play for hours and hours on end. It's the things that you can do in them that are very fun, some people, it's not their cup of tea. But the #1 thing about it is you can load that game on anything. You can use an old ass fucking 720, whatever old ass graphic card that you use, and you could still load a lot of those games, depending on what you play, what system you play. They're not like super graphic intensive. They're accessible to people all around the world. And I think that's a #1 reason too, where we wanted the low poly to keep it fun. We wanted to keep the experience light and the focus on the mechanics of the game, the focus on the experience of the game, the focus on having fun in the game, not the focus on this buzzword GameFi shit, not the focus on the fact that you can, earn off this. No, the focus on playing a fun game with your friends, getting back to what we did as kids, which is just literally have fun. Because I don't know about you, I'm never going to grow up. You know what I mean? I love doing this deep down in my heart. Like, I'm always going to be a kid. And then let me shout out some of these comments, Sleazy, and I'll let you jump in here. The Wild West is coming. Yes, it is coming. It's already here, man. It's already here. I am bullish, man. Like, I won't lie. I'm bullish, but I'm more importantly, I'm bullish on you guys, man. I'm bullish on the people that have showed up every day. And far as here's another reason. Yeah, Wild, no pre-sale, no team share. Guys, this is another big deal. I try to tell you guys all the time. It very much is almost like you're launching. It's almost like we're launching a meme coin. Like, Wild is a super stable coin. but it has the same vibe and feel of a meme coin. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about why that is. It's an extremely unique, one of a kind model that we developed here. There's literally never been anything close to being made like it, and we're pretty excited about it. It's basically, for us, it's like a new standard. So no pre-sale, no team share, no VC, big guns in first, tiered down to the ranks until public release. That is essentially how it works. You know, the idea behind it is big guns. It's going to be based upon the crate rolls. That's why I told you guys those crates are crucial. You know, if you head on over, you can grab them right now on a BC Spay. It'll be available on our marketplace coming up within the coming days. It's going to be pretty cool. If you jump into Discord, feel free to open a ticket or ask questions in a community. Everyone is super cool. They all love it. Everybody helps each other out. They're amazing. So if you have any questions, you could just jump into Discord, and anyone from the community, the old Rangers, somebody will just jump in and help you out. But the truth of the matter is there'll be a big part of getting access to Wild, and it will be no pre-sale, no team share, no VC, completely owned by the people, for you guys to just go fucking bananas. And that is our DAO, you know, kind of like our DAO token, our DAO system, which I'm really excited about. So anyway, back to the good stuff. Go ahead, Sleazy. What do you want?
And I was just thinking, imagine you're not someone who can afford $1,500 PC to game. I know there are so few people like that who cannot afford to spend so much money on just to play something. But yeah, it affects quite a lot of people. Like if you already have something like this, you don't think about it.
But you don't.
If you're like a student, for example, you don't have that kind of money.
You don't. And I don't want it to be about, that's the one thing I tell people all the time. People talk about that, but I don't want it to be about the money. I don't want, like, that's the part of fucking Web3 that I can't stand sometimes. Like, people will roll their eyes and be like, oh, everybody's here to make money. Yeah, maybe you're like that. Maybe you think like that. But don't point the finger at everybody else, because not everybody's like that. Yeah, we all have to make a living. Money is a necessary evil. It makes the world go round. People will figure out different ways to do that. But the truth is anybody that understands how to grow a company and understands value understands that you first have to give value before receiving it. Life doesn't work like that. Like, these people that you see that grow these big companies, they were grinding away for years, but nobody sees that part. Nobody sees the part where Elon slept on the floor, inside of his factory, or the endless nights, probably in a shitty little whatever room that they had when they were coding away. Maybe that's not the best example, because some people will make an argument where, I don't know, like, those guys had, more accessibility from family or whatever it might be. But there's a lot of people that are in the trenches every day. Everybody struggles. Everybody goes through shit. And the reality is the way to get through that is when you stick together, when you sit there and offer value to people first, and it comes back to you. As long as you do the right thing and you focus on continuing to push forward, that value always comes back. Nobody's perfect. I've made beyond my fair share of mistakes. And even to this day, like, you know what I mean? The reality is that it's a learning experience, and it's better to learn with others than to learn alone. So to me, that's how I feel about it. But anyway, so yeah, it is cool that you'll be able to earn in this ecosystem. It is cool that we'll be able to change some people's lives, but it's not about that. You know what I mean? That's why we'll never give financial advice. We'll never tell people what to do, because it's not about that. We don't want them here for that reason. We want them here to have fun. But it is pretty cool that we're also able to do all these other things, and people are able to capitalize on the ecosystem overall. I think that's what a good ecosystem does, is it? Like, it should automatically benefit people if they get involved. It shouldn't have to be about it, because if it's done right, people will automatically benefit. And I think that is probably one of the most important aspects of all of this. So that being said, yeah, that's going to be one of the bigger parts about the crates and everything that's going on there. I just wanted to share that with people, just to give you guys like an understanding of the crates, of the ecosystem, of what's coming up. Guys, this is going to be epic. Like, I can't stress it enough, man. Between everything that's been going on in developments in the building and the games, we have 2 games. We have our Rage going on. We have everything else that's going on. The marketplace is launching. Sonium is coming. We have other chains we're launching. Like, it's going to be wild, man. It's going to be absolutely wild. And you guys are going to be a part of the journey. So thank you, man. I really appreciate everybody that's been a part of the journey with us. That being said, yo, what's up, Sleazy? Talk to me, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've chilled ourselves for like an hour.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now we can actually talk about the topic of the discussion of today.
Let's go. Art and NFTs.
Yes, and design. So I asked the question before starting, who do you or which one of us do you think actually knows how to design stuff? Yeah,
How
well,
to design? Well, a bunch of
yeah.
us. I think actually a bunch of people on the team are pretty decent at designing stuff.
Well, between us two, I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't know how to design anything. I don't know how to design shit, and this guy actually knows how to design shit. So I guess
Oh, stop it. No,
that's good.
stop. I
And,
listen, I try. Listen, man, you guys are awesome though. We got some pretty amazing engineers. The designs, I'm actually overhauling all the designs this weekend. I'm gonna be locked the fuck in. And I told the guys today, like I was in pitch black. So I call it dev mode. I call it like fucking like I don't know how to call it, like a flow state. I don't know what you call it, but like I turn all the fucking lights off. I go in my little office, it's pitch black. I blast like Bring Me the Horizon or something like heavy shit, prog metal or something that I really like. And I just like lock the fuck in and I just start deving. And this weekend is going to be one of those times with the rest of the guys where I'm kind of going to be locked in. I'm going to be overhauling. We're going to overhaul the complete designs. We wanted to surprise people when everything launches. So once it launches, people are gonna like they see the design it is now. It's gonna be completely different. If you go on Yeehaw right now, if you go on Posse.market, you could see the marketplace, you could see the roundup, the decks, you could see Yeehaw, but we're actually the AI agent platform. But none of it's going to look like that. And that's on purpose because we know all you sneaky motherfuckers out there that are 2Nails projects that are coming in, that are watching what we're doing. We've seen it happen time in and time again. This is why we've been so silent when we've been building. And then people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, let's copy this or let's copy this. Don't worry, you won't be able to because we're already on top of that. But yeah, we're going to overhaul all that and then push that update live when the time comes, which I can't tell you when, but it's coming soon. Yeah.
One of those things. Why argument? Why patents are sometimes stupid? Like not in all situations, but in many situations, is that even if you reveal what you're doing to the public, it doesn't necessarily mean that other people can replicate what you're doing because it takes a lot of time to actually do it. Like imagine you release some kind of very complex formula how to cure cancer. It does not mean that other people are actually going to be able to outpace you because you've spent so much time to actually invent it that there's actually there's no way these guys are gonna actually even dream of catching up to you. So yeah, that's kind of one of those arguments why we don't always hold everything a secret.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. You're not wrong. I think it's one of those things where, like I said, when you're in an ecosystem, there's going to be people like that. It's inevitable. But people are going to be able to weed out like people that are honest and legitimate about what they're doing and the bullshit artists. Like that's the number one thing that people often see. Like they could see through that shit. People smell bullshit a mile away, bro. People don't give enough credit to everyone thinks people are stupid. Like they can't see when somebody is up to no good when they can't see. I think people can quite clearly. They know when like, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel right. Like these guys, anybody that's been grinding, people have watched us grind. Like we've been public about, hey, this is what we can do. This is what we can't do. We've never overpromised this. Like, we said, hey, this game development, this ecosystem is going to take a long fucking time. Like this isn't something, guys. Like I hope you're ready to lock in because we're looking at between 5 to 10 years. Like we're locked in for the long haul. We're the long bet. We're not the short term bet. And it was one of those things where now that we're approaching, holy shit, 21, 22, 23, 24. So holy goddamn. Now that we're approaching that mark, you know what I mean? 22, we could say officially. It's the time. 21, is when it conceived the idea, but 22. It really is like one of those things where it's go time. And you know what I mean? Now, slowly but surely will trickle. It's a soft launch. Slowly but surely we'll trickle all this out now. And I think that's what we're probably most excited about.
Yeah, it's like, one of those things, why I don't think that the AI craze will stay. Oh, I'm not going to expand too much because that's for the next episode. But that when we talk about art and design, AI does a good job, but it's never going to do good enough job for it to be used professionally. It's like I've used AI to generate some of our things, but it always looks wrong. Like it's never going to make it exactly how we want it to be perceived by the public. Like you need intuition to actually do it. It's like one of those things that you actually have to learn as part of art and design.
Mm-hmm.
There are many tools. There's Canva. It's extremely easy to design something, but you actually need this intuition in your head, like very well developed, in order to actually know how it needs to look like. I believe, like I've never done art and design professionally, or like seriously, I guess. But one of those things that I hear when they say how to actually make graphics. It's, does it look right?
Mhm.
It's something like mathematical. It
It's a
just doesn't
feeling.
look right.
So I countered this a lot in music. So for those that don't know, people ask me all the time. Kind of makes me cringe. I don't like to um see too much AI being used in something because here's the reality. You can really tell the difference and it looks cringy as shit. So like for example, if their main graphics for everything that you're pushing to me is like if it looks good and you can get that perfect prompt and you can get that shit like locked in every single time and it looks the same, like by all means like go for it. But to utilize like things where you see the letters are bent or it's warped, or for example, like I've seen somewhere you can see if you look close enough you see a star has 6 points instead of having like a certain amount that it should, or like some weird thing like that shit drives me fucking crazy. And as a guy who is a UI UX guy, so like as a design, like I literally lose my fucking shit and I'm like, yeah, that's cringe. Because the reality is some people may not care though. Like there's gonna be a lot of people that are just gonna launch it and be like, hey, listen, I don't really care. Yo, I appreciate it, Perry, man. Listen, man, you've been locked in and tuned in, brother. We love you. We appreciate it. Yeah, that kind of drives me crazy, man. Like when I see the UI stuff like that. But don't get me wrong, there's some really dope ass AI art. Like when you do it the right way, to me, the right way is when you just come up with a crazy one-on-one concept. Like, one-on-one concepts where you create some cool AI art. That shit is cool as shit. And I've seen some pretty dope artists that are, really doing stuff. People say, well, that's not an artist. Well, I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
that's for
And
I'll get into that
it's
after.
like, you know why I think AI is never actually going to be good enough by itself to do anything professionally? It's like, if we
Be
take classical music,
be careful, but go ahead.
like if we take classical music, it's one of those things that has been preserved like over centuries. So objectively speaking, it's that type of thing that changes the least.
Yeah, but
But
listen, man.
then
Go ahead.
like you look at some of the musicians, classical musicians, and they look at some of the music that was produced like 50 years ago, also by classical musicians. They are absolutely cringing because the standards of classical music have changed over 50 years. So, like all of this, like it's so subjective that AI would need to understand human subjectivity in order to actually produce something like this. And I'm not sure that that's impossible. Even,
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
we struggle to do this.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a couple different things. Like we develop AI heavily here at Posse. Like that. Like like one of the biggest things that we do here is a lot of AI shit. And it's funny because once again, if you look in, how long we've been doing it, this isn't something we've been talking about. Like you can see it in docs. We've been talking about this for years now. Like this was coming. It was inevitable. Like when ChatGPT came out, like this was the inevitable evolution. I like to say that we got lucky staying ahead of the curve. I think it is. Like, don't get me wrong. It's the fact that we know what we're talking about. It's the fact that we have such incredible people and developers and people that are part of the community, people that are part of our company. But the reality is we've been in the trenches. We know you start to be able to spot trends after a while. So we were able to see like this was coming and we were able to capitalize on it. But the reality is that this particular space is going to evolve drastically. Will we never see AI that will be able to create art that's like, as detailed or things that are as particular as normal artists? I don't know, man. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I want to at least play devil's advocate.
Yeah, it's
And
like I think it's possible, but in order for this to happen, you need a human who understands all of those subjective details.
see, there you go. But here's the thing: you're 100% right. You are right. But in a way, like, have you ever used Juno or Judo? I forgot what it is, where you can create AI music. Like, if you say, like, give me a classical song by Beethoven, you're right. That's called first movers principle, if you ask me. Like, you know what I mean? There always had to be a reference for the AI to model itself off. But once we get into AGI and we start moving, for those that don't know, artificial general intelligence, meaning once we start getting into the world of AI, where the AI is actually, as we like to call, sentient, like, you know what I mean, where it can actually understand that it's alive, all that good stuff, which is crazy to think about. Like, it really is fucking crazy to think about. But the reality is we're not too far off from shit like that. People think that we are, and it's, oh, you'll have debates within the academic circles, but the reality is people were debating for years that we would be where we're at right now, technically speaking. So, you know what I mean? Who's to say, especially with the stuff that's being revealed over at whatchamacallit, I always pronounce it. Is it Ness? What is it that's going on right now? Over hold on, I'll tell you right now. Big no, hold up. What's the name of that shit? CES, yeah, CES. Duh, how did I not remember? I was drawing a blank. So everything that's being revealed daily at CES is like, it's nutty. And when you see like the new super chip and everything that Nvidia is doing, guys, like, come on, man. They're solving problems that it takes a normal computer thousands and quadrillion years to solve. So it's like when you're getting into that type of realm, like, okay, you know what I mean? That's where even security comes into question. You know what I mean? Nobody talks about that enough. But but as far as the AI side of it, no, I do agree. One of the biggest things with AI is, for example, someone once said, I know another fellow engineer is having a conversation where he's like, yeah, but here's the thing. AI can beat you at chess, but it can't create chess. I was like, but for how long? I'm kind of on that side where I'm like, listen, man, people can FUD it, but I don't know, man. I grew up in the 90s to where, like, I'm 35 years old. I grew up in the 90s to where how I remember what everybody said about the internet. I remember what everybody said about how this was all going to play out, over the course of the last 20 years. And when I seen like, these big explosions and one meta to the next, bro, like there was a lady that died not too long ago. She was like the oldest living person on the planet. She was like 122 years old, right? There's some crazy shit like that. Can you fucking imagine? And I'm going to say that like aggressive. What this lady had seen in her lifetime coming from the 1800s, right? Of having no planes, horses, and carriages, no bicycle, like nothing. Yeah, to watching things fly in the air, like her life had to feel like a dream, sleazy. Like it had to be. She had to feel like she was in the Matrix. There was no way she could feel otherwise. Like, and that's only in 120 years, guys. That's 120 years. Can you imagine Moore's law? They say it's slowing down.
Like I think by the time she actually watched movie The Matrix, she like it was like her life.
It was.
Like recover her life because all of this already happened to her, and Matrix was just representing what has already happened to her by the time it came out.
Think about it. Like I remember my grandmother used to tell me stories about. There was a store called the Five and Dime. And it's crazy. She would tell me when she was a kid, it was called the Five and Dime. Also stories about, because I love history. That was one of my big, like computer science and economics was more my majors, but like history was like more like my minor type of thing. Like I loved it because I think those that don't heed history are doomed to repeat it. You know what I mean? We've heard that before. But the reality is that when you have conversations with people, older people that tell you about the way that shit was, like she was telling me how milk, like, was like a nickel, or a loaf of bread was a nickel, or milk was, however much, and gas was like cents when it first. It's crazy. And then you look at inflation and how everything is evolved. But anyway, back on the art and the AI thing, you know how we are, but I love jumping all around with you. I do think that eventually the AI aspect will play, because we're going to save this for our AI conversation next week. But I do think that we're going to be talking about Yeehaw next week, guys. Our AI agent platform, one of the only platforms in the world. Yes, we are. We're happy and proud to see what's going on with Virtuals and Veifu and AI Agent Layer and all those guys. But we got something for you too. We got a little something as well that we think everybody's gonna like. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think as far as the NFTs are concerned and everything that's going on, I am pretty excited. I do think that art is really, really important part of Web3, especially even collectible art. I do love what happened originally when Top Shots were a big thing. Like, I think every single type of art, there's a special place for it. There's a special community for it. And AI, I don't think can ever truly replace that, because it isn't something that's native to AI. It's native to the human experience. It can recreate it, but it'll never be, the original thing. Like it can look, maybe it could be even more beautiful to some people, and to some people think it's better. That's fine, because that's the beauty of art. It's subjective. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Even if it does a better job, how this, like, if you have a bracelet like woven out of I don't know what it's called, but like those little bracelets that you weave. Yes. When it's done perfectly, it's not as valuable as when it's done with mistakes, because when it's done with mistakes, it's done by a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of I feel like it's like this, and I feel like art is only becoming increasingly more useful as time goes on, because we are getting overloaded with information. So art is a way to present information in a way that is gonna use our mental resources way more efficient. That's part of design. If you just like, I have two boards in my room, and I use them all the time. I make like I fold like one paper like this in like 8 parts. I cut them out into 8 equal parts, and I make notes on them. I don't even need those notes. I make them purely so my head doesn't get jumbled up with all of this information.
Yeah.
And I don't even read them after that. I put them like on the board. Sometimes I don't even read them the second time. I just throw them away, like literally. So that's why art, I believe, it is becoming more and more useful. So like, if you're
Yo,
a
shout
parent,
out to Blue. Hold on. Shout out to, I
Oh.
gotta shout this person out. Go, keep going, keep going. I want you to keep going. But
Oh, yeah.
while we do, so Blue, we'll talk about it. Shout out to you, Blue. Yo, Claire Silver is an artist and does great AI. 100% agree. Oh my God. Listen, man, there's quite a few AI artists that are killing. Yo, let's look that up now, as a matter of fact. Go ahead, keep going, Sleazy.
Yeah, I was just actually putting the name down. I'm actually kind of curious.
Yeah, let's look that up now. That's good shit, man. Hold up. Claire. Yo,
And
Blue, can you send me that link, Blue? Send me the link. Drop the link down in the chat. Let me go pull this profile up. Here, let me get this profile up on here. Where is this? Claire Silver.
So yeah, I believe that the more time goes on, the more
I
important.
know who this is. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I know who this is. I have seen this. Yo,
That's actually pretty good.
Yo, I completely agree with you. This shit is fire. Like, I've seen some of this shit and I was like, no fucking way. Like, there's some shit in here that is like, to me, like, it's pretty dope. Hold on. Let's see some of the images. Let's go through media. We could probably see more of her art and stuff like that.
That's
probably
a lot of gifts.
Yeah, that's a lot of gifts. We're probably going to see more of the art. Here we go on the website. Collaborate AI artists. Let's see. Available work collections. Let's go into collections. Yeah, Blue, is there any like hot collections in this? Like anything that you reckon? Like, is there anything in particular like that people that like stands out? Like, plug me in. Like, you know what I mean? I know a little bit about it, but like I'm actually still learning a lot about this shit as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's like ChatGPT. Like, you always use ChatGPT to automate a lot of what you're doing, but you're always like tweaking the results that it gives you.
This
so
is
gorgeous. This is gonna be the standard. You use AI for like some parts, so like general structure, but then you actually fill in the blanks where it doesn't fit.
Yeah, but is this not like, to me, that's your paintbrush? Like, listen, people are gonna hate me for this, man, because I listen. Let me give you a quick one. So I was scrolling through the timeline and I seen this really cool fucking anime trailer. Like, it really was dope. And next thing you know, I'm like, okay, I comment on it. Like, you know, you give credit where it's due. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Did not know it was AI, right? So apparently it was AI. I guess I wasn't paying attention to like the description or whatever. And someone says, that's not art. That shit. As a matter of fact, let me find that. Hold on. Well, I want to show this profile more. Like, yo, go follow Claire. I have no idea who you are, Claire, but you're awesome. Your art is fire and you should be followed. So like, go check this out. Where's my profile? I'm on Posse's right now. So if I go on mine, let me go on mine. Let me find Claire. Claire Silver. I like to support artists, bro. I'm supporting you. You're dope. All right. Now in my profile, I got into this debate with somebody. Ready? Where's my replies? Where's my debate replies? This is going to be good. Hold on. I know it's in here. It wasn't too long ago, so bear with me. It was basically someone was like, you know, this isn't art. It's AI shit. It's garbage. You know, this is memes have been around. Hold up. That was me debating with people about memes. People telling me meme coins are going to be like, yeah, they're going to be good, but it's just a meta, bro. Meme coins are not going to. We'll get into that though another way. I know everyone's going to argue with me about that, but isn't this funny? This is so inappropriate, but I thought it was funny. Come on, that's not funny. That's a dope. That's a funny ass tattoo. Tell me that isn't a funny tattoo. Come on, you can't say.
Yeah.
All right. Can you imagine like you flick your nipple? Like, listen, man. Don't. I have a bad mind, bro. All right. Let's see. This here it is. All right. I love this. All right.
Oh,
So
that's
this
pretty
guy,
good.
tell me this isn't good. Now watch this, right? Let's pull this up. All right. You can't hear the music, but I can.
Damn.
Fire, right? Absolute
Yeah.
fire. Keep going, keep watching. Absolute fucking fire. Tell me this isn't fire. Now we're gonna keep going, keep watching it, blah 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 blah. You can see now that I look back on it, you can see the AI and all that, but hold on.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say that it's AI because there are
What
only
is
so
it?
many
What
anime
is
studio. No, hold on, no. It's not because like they are mistakes, but because there are only so many anime studios,
Look how
and that
beautiful
art
this
is
is.
not like any anime studio. So I can tell that it's AI just because of this.
So
Like
here,
every AI, every anime studio has an art style, and
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
does not correspond to any of them. So
It
it's kind
doesn't.
of
It doesn't.
discredited.
And here's the thing. I think AI is a paintbrush for those that know how to use it. For those that know how to use it, it is every bit as, yes, I said it, hot take. It is every bit as valid as a paintbrush. For those that learn how to, because that's what humans do. We use tools. We're monkey. Monkey use stick, put in beehive, get out honey. Like that's what we do. So like the reality is this is just another tool that is a part of the evolutionary experience of humanity. We started using sticks as monkeys, and now we're gonna become the stick. and that is the reality, bro. Like we're literally gonna become the fucking stick. And when I look at this, so I got into this. You have a board 8 PFP. I don't think you have a place to talk here. Are you fucking kidding me? So they originally had a board 8 PFP, and they told them this isn't art. They were talking about art and all that, and I was like, it's so disrespectful. Like I hate those type of people that are fudding on beautiful artists because he's an artist. Like whoever this is creates this type of stuff. So I jumped in. I was like, I told him, ha ha ha, you're definitely a bot, but definitely not a board ape PFP. Oh, here's why. Let me tell you. Let me show you the whole context. So this is fire. He said, thank you, Hustle. Show replies. So completely disregarding the decades worth of life spent from thousands of real artists to produce animations these programs objectively steal from in order to work, right? But let's credit those who make it possible to disgrace legacies even easier.
Okay.
Go ahead. Before I jump
You
into
know,
my comment,
you
I
know,
fucking, oh boy.
it reminds me of this very like big drama, like way back in the days when guitar was invented. People were like, music used to be produced by whole orchestras, and a guitar can do it by itself, and people were really mad about it.
We'll get into that. Actually, funny enough, so you guys know I used to teach college level music theory. So I used to be like a teacher assistant, like community college type stuff. And for those that don't know, all right, quick story. I hate, you guys know me. I don't like talking about myself, but I like to at least throw something out there for you guys so you know a little bit more. The team's always pushing me to do this, so I feel like it's the one thing that I need to do. The reality is, when I was younger, I was really good with music. I grew up in a musical environment. My mother was a musician. My dad skipped out before I was born. Irish American, first generation on one side. And they came from over there. So like really musically inclined family. I play like 11 instruments right now. So yeah, big deal. I play like violin. I play the guitar, drums, bass, you name it. I play a bunch. I really love music. At a young age, I was a little troublemaker. So I couldn't sit still. ADHD, always getting in trouble in school. And music was like my one outlet. I also did that in boxing. I had at my church thing when I was younger. I believe it or not, I was actually like, now here's the crazy thing. I was actually an altar boy. I got to find a picture one time for you. And it was funny. And my boxing coach, he was an ex-UFC fighter. He retired, Irish dude, took me in and trained me, do all that cool stuff. So music and that were my sports, like my two big things. So anyway, the reason why I say this is because back then, a lot of people don't know the history of music and how all this kind of unfolded. When the impressionistic movement, you saw with Debussy, all that, when that whole movement came out, it wasn't just an art movement, it was an entire movement with music. And I'm speaking to this because of art being misunderstood. Back then, people looked at that shit like it was repulsive. It was like, what is this shit? And there's some people that really liked it because it was a very particular style. And with the guitar in particular, you're talking about, there were artists from like back in the day, Paco de Lucia, Django Reinhardt, those guys that were, he actually had two fingers, was playing guitar back then. And distortion and all those things, people don't know that a lot of that was stumbled on by accident. So originally, how distortion came to be, how we know with like Fenders and Les Pauls, which is like that circle body guitar that like Jimmy Page played with Led Zeppelin and etc., is acoustic guitars. When people would play in a band back then, they couldn't hear the guitar player. Guitar players weren't lead instruments back then. Guitars were really, at least for in the context of a band, they were a rhythm instrument. It was really like keeping the rhythm. And what ended up happening is people found, a way to make a humbucker, and they placed it inside of the acoustic guitar and plugged it into an amplifier. And if you know, back then, amplifiers were powered by what's called tubes, by electricity. The electrodes, it would go in there, it would warm up, and that would create that loud sound you hear in the speaker. But here's what ended up happening: when you turned up the volume too loud on these amps, the sound would start to break up. It would get distorted. Hence, you're welcome. That's how like Jimi Hendrix, that's how all like rock became heavier. It changed the face of fucking music, literally by accident. Like, you know what I mean? Probably intentional for people when they started realizing, whoa, this sounds pretty cool, because harmonics were being created. And it was unique. It was just entirely different, unique sound spectrum. But I thought I would throw that in there for people that didn't know. Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100%. And there's even more to that. Like, I love music. Like I said, I was an audio engineer for years. I worked on mixing music bands. Like, that was one of my biggest passions. So,
yeah, when you say we're all engineers here, you are using this lawyer at the moment. You're an audio engineer.
No, I worked as an audio engineer. Yeah, I mean, I got into software development at a young age. I was about 10 years old. It was actually by accident. We had so my family, we didn't have a lot of money. We were kind of poor, but fuck it, we had fun. I had fun. And my grandmother, we lived in a little town called Atlantic Highlands out in New Jersey, and it was right by the shore. I actually grew up on the shore. And one of the cool things is like everything was close knit. People were mad chill. For all the kids that didn't have a lot, we had each other, and that was enough. And when computers started getting big in the 90s, we didn't have a lot of money to get computers, and there was a family down the street that had a lot of money. You know what I mean? And they well, not a lot of money. They had more money than anybody else, at least. And they were throwing out a computer. I noticed one day. My grandmother used to take me to garage sales as a kid. Like back then, you used to have a newspaper and you would circle it. You go to a garage sale and shit. We used to do that out here in the U.S. And if you don't know what a garage sale is, it's essentially where people clean out the garage with shit that they've had sitting there for years, and they sell it on their lawn. And they put an ad out in the paper, and you could see on their address, hey, come here. It's like a public sale type of thing that they do. And what ended up happening is I found an IBM 5150, and I took it apart at it's fucking old as dirt. I took it apart at a young age, was trying to figure out how it worked. I was like 10 years old, and I started to figure some shit out. So we went to a garage sale, and they had all these floppy disks. This is when disks
the only reason why I know what IBM is, because, I was born in 97.
Okay.
The only reason why I know what an IBM is because there's an anime that went back in time and dealt with an IBM machine. That is the only reason why I even know what this company is.
So these are 5.25s. Are you ready? Check this out.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
So this right here, for guys that don't know,
wow.
This was what the fuck a floppy disk was. People say that this is a floppy disk. The one in the middle, that's not a fucking floppy disk. That's a hard disk. That's a little hard floppy disk. This is a real floppy disk. And I used to go, like, you can bend them like it was completely. So when I had that IBM 5150, I went to that garage sale. Speaking of IBM, and I went and found Cosmic Crusader. It was over. Changed my life. And that's when I got into learning, like, through a manual that came, like, that I had the computer. I forgot where I told you. I think I got the manual at the garage sale too. And I would learn basic. I would just learn it, like, how, you know what I mean? I would just like figure it out, little things, how to maneuver the computer and shit. Yeah. So that was like kind of how I got into software stuff. But like audio became like a big passion of mine, which is why I did a lot of audio mixing. I'll share some of my stuff for you later. I played in bands, did like the little touring thing. Like, I loved it. I miss it. One day I'll play for you guys. But anyway, that was kind of that. Now to get back to what I was going to say with this. So this fucking asshole, for those that are not tuned in, we were talking about somebody with AI art. I think AI art is completely gorgeous. It's beautiful. We should follow a lot of guys. Like, I think, whatchamacallit, Blue just recommended Claire Silver. Checked out the art. It was absolute fire. But this particular artist, I was scrolling through the timeline, and I thought this was real, like an actual legitimate trailer. It ended up being AI. So this asshole was like completely disregarded decades worth of life. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has their opinion, and we need to respect them. Let's say that first. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's okay to disagree, guys. Like, we need to get back to a place in society where it's okay to disagree. Like, you don't have to sit there and run down someone's throat because they see something differently than you. If they think this is not art and it's putting people out of business, yeah, don't get me wrong. That happens. There's been a lot of people out in LA. I was talking with friends that in studios, animation studios, some people jobs were let off. AI is being implemented in a lot of ways. But that's like anything. That's like with all technology. You know, when manufacturing was getting big, you know what I mean? It replaced a lot of other types of jobs, and then technology made lives easier too. So you got to remember, this is just a part of the human experience. So this person says, completely disregard the decades of life worth spent to thousands of real artists to produce animations. Now, I was upset because this kid, whoever this is, really took the time to build this. Like, they put some time into this, right? So I said, you know me, I try to be politically correct. When I'm online, you know, it's my brand. I don't want to start getting too degen online and be like, you motherfucker. Like, I like to be professional. My grandma, my mom and all that, I got a little bit of, I'm a degen, but I got a little bit of class, right? I got a little bit. So I was like, I was simply appreciating the art for what it is, art. Not many people in the early 20th century understood impressionistic art. Monet, Debussy were interesting characters, to say the least. However, times are times are changing, and I can imagine how hard it is that for many incredible artists who paved the way for things like AR to be possible. I don't take any credit from those artists. Rather, I revere them. The reality is everything in life is subject to inevitable evolution. I think instead it's important to find ways to support all artists regardless of what they choose as their brush, because AI is a brush. So he says, obviously he's a troll, but you know me, I like to feed into that shit. He's like, you have a Bored Ape PFP. I don't think you have a place to talk here. So I laughed my ass off because I didn't have a Bored Ape PFP up at the time, which is funny as shit. And I was like, it's not art, he said. So I said, well, it sure falls under the definition of art. And I pulled up the definition. I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. A lot of people will say NFTs are not art, yet someone bought one for $69 million. And if you remember, that was the Beeple NFT. You know, when NFTs first kicked off, for those that fucking remember, once upon a time, Beeple's NFT, remember, sold for 69 million. It was like, you know, I forgot the name of it. It was like Every Day or whatever. It's where he makes an actual NFT every fucking day with, funny enough, through like, you know, art, through like digitally. So the definition, let's look at the definition of art. An expression or application of human creative skills, imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. A human is controlling the machine that they use. It is fucking art. So they bought this to show off, dumbass. What else would you do with the art?
Yeah, you know, when you buy millions dollars worth of a painting, do you not buy it to show off? I guess. Or to appreciate that. Like, I mean, there can be several reasons, but NFTs and buying real paintings, is it really that different when you can look at a painting through a screen instead of like in real life, like on your wall?
I think that's cool as shit.
That much of a difference.
I don't think it does, but I do think I like the digital one. I like real life. Here's the thing. There's some things that I grew up in like the turn of all of this. So like for me, it was cool to have physical shit too. Like, I'll give you something fun. I like to collect, this is kind of funny, typewriters. I like old type. Isn't that fucking weird? I like typewriters. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know some people say that. I like certain older shit. Listen, bro, I think I love the fucking sound of it. I love the feel. Like, so when I write something, sometimes I like to write in my spare time, like think of things I want to write. I'll use a fucking typewriter sometimes, bro. I swear to fucking God. And I think that it's just the coolest fucking experience. Like some older tech, when you go look back at some of these things, they're super cool, man. Like they just are. They have this human feel to them. They have this vibe to them where it just fucking feels like, you know, real. It feels like it kind of grounds you. And sometimes in this world today, like we can get up here. God knows I'm up there all the time. And you need something to ground you. And I think having like old collectibles and shit like that. Sometimes there's a place. I have a cousin who collects all Coca-Cola shit, and he has like Coca-Cola shit from like 100 years. It's fucking crazy, and it's the coolest shit though. So like, you know, I don't know, man. I'm not a hoarder though. I'm not a hoarder. Like I don't like to. I'm like a neat freak, OCD with shit. Like I like to have like a neat workspace and shit. But the truth is I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought, I think AI art is art and all that good stuff. So I don't know. That's my take. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'll do a personal story. I pretty much have all characteristics of Asperger's syndrome.
No shit.
Okay, so the most common expressions of Asperger's syndrome is, by the way, what Elon Musk has. At least that's what he says he has. Okay, one is you have difficulty looking in the eye. The reason for that is that when you're talking to someone, you're not talking to the person. You're not interested in the person. You start your thoughts start going around what that person is saying. So you're not looking in the eyes, you are imagining a picture in front of you. That is, essentially what I have going on for me, which is why I never look in the eyes for too long, because my eyes start like darting around right, left, and I start imagining things. Yeah, that's pretty much, it's one of those things that can be very helpful in some cases, but a bit frustrating in other cases.
I don't think. Listen, I don't think you're wrong, but I think that that's also a superpower for you. Like when I was a kid, they told me I had ADHD in the '90s, and everybody was diagnosed with ADHD. Fucking D. Like I think that's your superpower, bro. I think that's what makes you fucking unique. It's what makes you fucking sleazy, Sanzar, and it's what makes you cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what the hell other people think. It doesn't matter. Like, sometimes you ever notice when I listen to you guys, like if I'm on like big company meetings or something, sometimes I close my eyes. I don't know if you ever noticed that. So like I'll sometimes I have this habit where I'll be like this, and I'll like close my eyes for a minute and I'll listen like this, because my mind, it's wandering so much that it's easier to close my eyes and actually listen. So, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, it's just one of those things. So don't ever feel like, listen, man, I think it's pretty cool.
And the other one was that it is very difficult for me to learn a new skill, but once I reach some kind of level of proficiency, I accelerate a lot. That's kind of it's a very difficult to start, but once I do start, it becomes a lot easier to continue. Which is why, like, whenever I was in university and in school, I was always like lagging behind for like the first few months, and then end up almost at the top of the class by the end of it.
Okay.
So that was kind of a funny thing, because it always was the same story. Like every year, it started off in the exact same pattern.
Okay, no, I get what you're saying.
Which is why, like kind of introduction why I'm talking about art. Art is also one of those things that I'm struggling a lot with. I've struggled a lot with it in school.
Okay.
It's that one subject that I've spent most time in, but still had the worst grade in, because I never quite reached that threshold limit where I would start enjoying it and actually accelerate. So after all those years, I'm kind of hoping to actually someday reach that point where I would be able to actually learn this, because that's such a useful skill, especially now, because like I said before, it's now the age of information. You need to be able to organize the information, and if I can organize it using art and design skill for myself, it's gonna like help me with every other aspect in my life. So yeah, that's something that I hope to learn in 2025, 2026. Yeah.
That's actually a really good goal. I think it's important to always be setting goals. I think the fact that you're like, hey, listen, I'm willing to learn. I might not be good at it. That's half the battle, man. I'm serious. Like when you're learning anything new in your talent, there's a lot of times where, like, for instance, I'll want to do something. This is how I feel about music sometimes. So like you'll master something and something will be such a big part of your life. I don't think you ever truly master anything, but it'll be such a big part of your life that eventually you get to a point where like it's hard. I don't know if this sounds weird. This kind of like sounds a little contradictory, maybe like a little bit of an oxymoron, but I'll sometimes look at a music palette or an instrument that I have in my house. I have a bunch of guitars hanging on the wall, and I get paralysis analysis. Like I freeze up. It's like I'll stare if I'm trying to write a song or I'm trying to do something. Like it's almost like now it's not that it doesn't come as easy. It's just that I can't even get myself to want to do it anymore. And it's weird, right? Like music was such a big part of my life, but now like I don't even pick it up anymore. And it's like I don't even bother to play it. And I think sometimes, like, you know, it's crazy, you know, it's one of those things where you got to motivate yourself. Sometimes you got to just push through the bullshit, and you just kind of got to lock the fuck in and just you got to do what you do. I always say this all the time. I tell my son, he's young, you know, he's 6, he'll be 7 in like February. And I tell him all the time, like, listen, you got to do the things you don't want to do first so you can get to the things that you want to do. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And that's what makes a successful company. That's what makes a successful person. Like you have to be willing to do a lot of shit that you do not want to do, that you just can't. Those that can do what they can't stand, you almost can't find somebody. Listen, I'm going to say that right now. I challenge you, find me somebody who every day of their life does something that they absolutely fucking hate and doesn't get results in some way, shape, or form. Like that is the way that you get results, by doubling down on the shit that you don't want to do. But that is obviously, there's another part of that. Don't run wild, where it has to be common sense. Like, then again, I was always taught if sense was common, everybody would have it. And it's one of those things. But it really does actually matter. You know what I mean? It does. It plays a big part in that.
Yeah. And you know how I essentially find a way how to overcome my analysis paralysis?
Yeah. How?
As a child, I've always had this fast calculation time in my head. So, like, while everyone is thinking, what is 73 plus 84? I would say 157. That would be. I would skip all of those steps in maths that teachers would need me to actually write out to know that I know what I'm doing. But I would just do it all in my head and just write the answer. And I was taught that I need to follow a strict procedure, not because I need it, but because the teachers would not grade me well unless I do this. And that translated to the how I would overcome analysis paralysis, because when I would encounter a problem in maths that I would not be able to solve in my head, I have to write it out. So I just write it out, and when I do write it out, a lot of this analysis paralysis, it's like it's not necessary. So I just throw the paper away because it's no longer needed. Like all of this is useless. That's how it organizes in my head. So essentially, yeah, I just write out everything, and by the time I finish, like 90% of this information is useless, and I can actually start focusing on the important parts.
Yeah.
That's my method.
I get it. No, listen. And it's good that you found something that works for you. You know what I mean? You got to find something that works, something that can help you move the needle forward. But I also say, as far as design and art and AI, whatever the hell it is that you're involved in, I do think, like I said, it's going to play a bigger part slowly but surely into the way that we approach all of these things. I think there's like this amalgamation happening where these things are coming together. They're blurring the lines. I think you see it a lot even in UI development. You know what I mean? Like you're going to see a lot of that in UI development. But here's the kicker. This is the part where I tell people all the time. You may be able to see a lot of art in like UI development and shit like that and stuff when it comes to websites and shit. But what ends up happening is it doesn't speak for the actual experience. You know what I mean? It doesn't speak for the user experience. Like a computer, you can input what that user experience is. You can say, hey, I want the person to feel like this, and this, but they'll never feel like, you know what I mean? It's different. They can't feel that. So like the truth is that, like, there's always that special human element that kind of gives it that polished overall feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's pretty much intuition, because you cannot always analyze everything. Especially because analysis, it takes time.
It does.
You don't necessarily always have time to overanalyze everything.
I agree.
Like, one of those things, if you come to a party, you kind of you don't analyze it. You cannot analyze it. There's just too much. You get like one look at it and you make a snap decision. It may not always be correct one, but you don't need it to always be correct. You need it to be like mostly correct. So yeah. Intuition is always going to be a very big part of it, especially because when you come to a project, a lot of people are not going to be able to like follow very rigid steps how to make sure that this is the right team. A lot of it is going to be up to intuition, especially because there are so many teams. It's like you're going to use your intuition first to see if you actually like it, and then you apply the analysis.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, but I think, like I said, everyone has their own way of doing it, and it's going to continue to evolve. So like overall, like I said, art, the design, the AI thing, I am bullish on it. With that being said, we're coming to our wrap, man. Yo, holy shit! Can you believe like 2 hours went by? That's nutty.
Yeah,
that's
almost.
Nutty. Yo, listen, it's nutty. Like 3 minutes. But we have a blast, man. Like I love doing this. I love chatting with the community. I love chatting with you, obviously, Sleazy, man. You always crush it with us. Really proud of this.
We have not been able to bring Noodle this time, but he does have a camera for next time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he'll be back soon.
All right, good shit.
We'll talk to him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, really excited. Really excited to be a part of this and kind of like get this all rocking and rolling. Doing this journey with everybody has been an absolute pleasure and an honor. Love all you guys. I'm really excited.
And of course, we'll have other guests as well.
And we're gonna have we have a lot of guests coming up. So
yeah,
stay tuned. We're gonna have some pretty cool guests, and I think you guys are gonna love it, man. it's been good vibes. It's been really good vibes. People are mad fucking chill. And I think we're going to love it, man. We're going to continue to grow forward and have some fun in the process. But with that being said, man, that's it. That's all she wrote. I love you guys. Let's ride out with some comments. What do we have here? Yo, come on. Let's go. Patty said I spoke with my financial advisor, and he said use Eldorado Marketplace, cross-chain aggregated DEX through Roundup, launch AI agents and memes, and buy Wild and West. Then he started on about passive earning when playing Wanted. I couldn't quite believe it. Then I realized I was talking to the mirror. Yeah. This guy, you have to have that's AI written. Patty, I don't believe that you wrote that. Stay tuned, guys. We got so much really, really, really cool shit coming out. You know, the games are going to be coming out soon. Can't wait. Got some testing, which you guys are going to be doing in the community. But you want to know what is out? Go ahead and jump on Eldorado. Go ahead and jump on Roundup. Go ahead and jump on Yeehaw. We're going to start launching AI agents all over this motherfucker soon, which we're really excited about. We've developed some amazing tech. So we're coming for virtuals, you know, Veifu, you know, digital, all those guys. Like, shout out to them. They're really doing some dope stuff over there, by the way, as well. Anybody that's building in this space, it's really putting in time of work, deserves it. But at the end of the day, we're coming. And we got a really crazy AI product, one of the only in the world right now. I know people are trying to get these up like wildfire, but the reality is we've been doing this for some time, and we're pretty excited to show everybody what we've finally been building. So it's going to be dope. It's going to be really, really dope. With that being said, do you have any final words, my brother?
Look forward to next week. We're going to talk about AI as well as show some AI that you can use. That's of course, we all know Google Assistant, like, hey, Google, do this for me. But I'm going to tell you why what we do is actually more than this. That's like, cool. You know, one of those things that I told my mom, we can do this. And she's like, but hey, Google can do the same thing. I'm like, well, yes, but wait, actually, I cannot explain this. I'm going to show you instead. And this is what's going to happen next week.
That's actually pretty good. Well, listen, we are going to show you all that more. Until next time, guys, love you. Let's get it. And we are out.